Hello, my friends. D.L. Anderson here. Welcome back to Transformation by Truth podcast as we share the truth concerning these last days and what you must do to save yourself from the violent times that are just ahead. Today's podcast is a word of truth accounting of the end times. The end is coming. The end is near. Today's podcast is entitled End Times 3:16. Who then can be saved? All things are possible to those who believe. The podcast objectives are analyze the next move you must make in your quest, analyze the importance of following Yahushua Messiah, and provide a reminder that all things are possible with Yahuwah Elohim. This lesson contains timelines and other visuals. Therefore, if you are listening to the podcast, I advise you to watch the video version on our website or YouTube, or request a PDF of the lesson so you can add the visual effect. The last thing you ever do. Shalom, my beloved brothers and sisters, and welcome to day 31 of our exposition of lawlessness. In the most recent podcast, we analyzed the 33 degrees of debility. In doing so, we completed our high-level analysis of the 80 degrees of lawlessness. No doubt, the sheer volume of the degrees we covered could cause some to assume that eliminating all 80 degrees of lawlessness is an impossible task. And some who do not deem it impossible would suggest it is highly unlikely. Although I appreciate and understand why some may initially feel this way, here lies a sore trouble. And it is so problematic that I must offer it as an inflection point. And I advise you to bookmark it. If eliminating the 80 degrees of lawlessness is impossible, then no one can be saved. Likewise, if eliminating the 80 degrees of lawlessness is highly unlikely, then it is highly unlikely that anyone will be saved. Now, I am making these declarations somewhat facetiously to establish a greater point. That is, spiritual understanding is not regressive. Vis-a-vis, we cannot establish the truth and then change our minds because we don't want to follow it. And yet, at the end of the day, this is what many within the extended nation of Israel are doing. And it is what the former nation has already done. To wit, they committed themselves to following Elohim and guarding his commands until the time came for them to follow through on their commitment. In line with the graphic, Yahuwah has never been too interested in our words. Trust me, he is much more interested in our actions. As it pertains to this phase in our podcast ministry, he is interested in the next move you are going to make. To wit, I have proven to you by the Spirit and the word of truth that your attainment of the seal of Elohim will require you to make a full departure from lawlessness. Not only this, but I have provided a high level overview of its 80 degrees. The only question that remains now is sure. What are you going to do? To wit, will you arm yourself to fight the battles before you? Or will you deceive yourself into suddenly believing everything I have covered in the past 95 podcasts was all a lie? For those of you who are being tempted by the enemy to make a false move from now, allow me to give you a word of advice. He deceived the rich young ruler into making this same false move many years ago. To wit, Yahushua Messiah commanded this young man to be perfect, to sell what he had, and to follow him. But alas, the rich young ruler refused the call to perfection, and he walked away in sorrow, not realizing that he had just closed the door that leads to everlasting life. And now, here I stand in Messiah's stead as an ambassador and watchman, beseeching you, don't close the door on everlasting life. My dear friends, it will not only be the worst thing you ever do, considering the day and the hour we are living in, it may also be the last thing you ever do. No matter where the path may lead. Now, that being said, I would like to address the perceived difficulty concerning the task before us. Vis-a-vis, there is no denying that eliminating the 80 degrees of lawlessness will not be a simple task. Here again, no true contender should expect it to be. My dear friends, remember what is at stake: the seal of Elohim, protection during the great distress, a front row seat in the millennial kingdom, and most importantly, everlasting life. Brothers and sisters, these are four of life's greatest rewards. Trust me, no one with a progressive spiritual mind would think that obtaining these most precious gifts would be simple or easy. For that reason, how easy the path is has no bearing on whether or not any true contender will follow it. Lo, all that matters to us is whether or not it is the Father's will. If it is, it doesn't matter how hard the path may be. We are more than conquerors, and we will succeed. Now, not only does Yahushua confirm that our perfection, which involves our full departure from lawlessness, is indeed the Father's will, but he also confirms it is possible. And thus, it wouldn't matter if there were 800 degrees of lawlessness. Perfection is still possible. Matthew 19, 21 to 26 is revealing. Yahushua said to him, i.e., the rich young ruler, if you wish to be perfect, go sell what you have and give to the poor, and you shall have treasure in heaven. And come, follow me. And when the young man heard the word, he went away sad, because he had many possessions. And Yahushua said to his taught ones, truly I say to you, that it is hard for a rich man to enter into the reign of the heavens. And again, I say to you, it is easier for a camel to go through the eye of a needle than for a rich man to enter into the reign of Elohim. And when his taught ones heard it, they were very astonished, saying, who then is able to be saved? And looking intently, Yahushua said to them, with men, this is impossible, but with Elohim, all is possible. Now, in line with this word given to us by Yahushua Messiah, I declare to you, no one can eliminate the 80 degrees of lawlessness on their own. And guess what? Yahuwah is not asking us to. All he is commanding at a high level is that we follow the steps of Yahushua Messiah, which is why the last three words he spoke to the rich young ruler are, "Come, follow me." Here lies the inflection. To wit, we don't know what following Yahushua Messiah entails. What we do know is this: as we follow him, every degree of lawlessness in our lives will eventually fade away. For as I have said before and often, it is impossible to follow the steps of a perfect man and fail to achieve perfection. All you have to do is make up your mind to follow him, no matter where the path may lead, and even though it is filled with many unknowns. For we know this is the only path that leads to everlasting life. And thus I ask, whither shall we go? All things are possible. Now, it was important for me to reestablish the amazing prospects and possibility of perfection and your ability by the Spirit of Elohim to eliminate the 80 degrees of lawlessness from your life. Above all else, here is why. Satan will do everything within his power to cause you to doubt your ability to do all things through Yahushua Messiah. And he will do so for the full duration of your quest for holiness, perfection, and everlasting life. The reason why is sure, namely, if he can cause you to doubt the Most High, then he can cause you to doubt anything. And this should come as no surprise to you. For as you have learned, doubt is at the foundation of the mountain of lawlessness, and it leads directly to a spiritual stronghold that controls all the strongholds the enemy has established in your life. Therefore, the message Yahuwah has for you as you begin the process of eliminating the 80 degrees of lawlessness from your life is simply believe. And remember, with him, all things are possible. You just have to believe. Not only this, but the assumption that our victory over lawlessness is impossible and or highly unlikely is the perspective of those who will not be chosen. For them, it is impossible and or highly unlikely because they don't have faith in Elohim. Look here, walking in the way of holiness and progressively eliminating the 80 degrees of lawlessness is not only doable for the chosen elect. My dear friends, the path gets easier and less complex as we travel it. Not only this, but there are multiple reasons why you should be encouraged by your prospects of succeeding this path. Brothers and sisters, you have many things going for you that will all but guarantee your success. And we will cover these in the upcoming podcast. Until then, I will simply reiterate the message of the hour, and I call upon you to never forget it from the first step you take on this renewed path until the last. All things are possible to those who will believe. Now, here is the final word. He that believes shall not make haste, for his house is a household of faith. And as we know, faith is the foundation of the pinnacle of holiness. Our entire quest will hinge on one simple yet powerful goal. That is, to keep the faith, to always believe in the Father's will, and to rely upon him. And thus, I will pray a prayer of reliance that we should all complete this work. For thy word is asking, when the son of Adam comes, will he find faith in the earth. Yahuwah Elohim, arm me with jealous care, as in thy sight to live. And thy servant Yahuwah prepare a strict account to give. Help me to watch and pray, and on thyself rely. Assured if I my trust betray, I shall forever die. Now, here is today's assignment. Meditate on the word you have heard today. And as always, ask the Father to reveal the truth to you. For the children of Elohim live by conviction. And if he has not convicted you, or if you had not heard him concerning these matters, you should pray until you do. Today, I want you to focus on all the reasons why you believe eliminating all the degrees of lawlessness will be a challenge for you. If you have the time, write them down so you don't forget. From now, I want you to add a segment in your prayer sessions where you consciously address these challenges, asking Yahuwah to help you understand what you must do to succeed these challenges. And after you have done all you can, do not cease to stand. Now, here is what's next. We completed today's podcast, End Times 3:16. Who then can be saved? And the next podcast is entitled End Times 3:18. The 3 keys to your victory over lawlessness. I will post this podcast on Friday, August 2nd, 2024. Until then, my friends, continue to be led by the Spirit of Elohim. Continue to watch, continue to pray, continue in fasting, and most of all, continue to be focused, for the end is coming. The end is near.